FMtraining.tv. My name is Margaret. I'll be your broadcast engineer for today. Hope y'all are having a lovely Tuesday. It's treating you well. Hello, Nick. How you doing?
Hello, I'm doing good, doing well.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. Today we are continuing a series with Nick. It's Intermediate and Advanced Relationships, Day 2. So, real quick, if you'd like to support the channel, feel free to pick up one of our paid subscription bundles if you have already. Thank you very much. We greatly appreciate it. Basically, if you are like, I really like, FileMaker, and I really like learning this stuff. I like visiting the streams, but I really don't necessarily enjoy how the format. The format we do the live streams in will sometimes irritate people. They're hour-long sessions. They're very community-driven. So as a result, they're like, this doesn't necessarily work for me. If that doesn't work for you, feel free to pick up one of the subscription bundles. We have very short videos that are highly animated and very focused, talking about very specific topics in FileMaker that you can easily search through and discover. So I feel like that will be right up your alley. That all being said, I think we're good. Nick, hi,
Yeah.
hello. We have
Hello,
a
hello.
question. We have a question, so I'm gonna. Well, I hit the wrong button. Now, you do not want to see all of me and the cat. So you want to share your screen and then I can toss the question to you?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so the question is yesterday from Andrew Liverpool. You can relate tables on a calculated field. So you could limit indexing on one side to limit the number of characters used in indexing to improve performance on fields with a large character count. FMSP only used to allow one calc field in relationship, but I don't know whether Claris has changed that. Can you use two calcs in a relationship now?
What do you mean by two calcs?
Like
You
matching
can,
a calculation to a calculation on each side of the relationship, I think. So,
well, you can use as many calc you want, depending on the calc. Okay, so this is something I can cover later in the webinar because
mhm,
it's more advanced, but
yeah.
technically, I never ever use this. A very, very a few fields that I use a calc as a calc, you know. Uh, I use this, right, as a calc field, I don't use that, there's other ways to use this instead of doing calcs, especially when you have, okay, install calc, right? This install calc cannot be used on relationship. I mean, they can be used on one side of the relationship, but not on the other one because there's no indexed, you know? So I typically never ever use calcs in a relationship. I use auto entry calcs in a relationship, right? Here, I use this. It's a calc, it's calculated, but it is indexed as I want, right? And it's not something that will destroy the performance, right? I never use calc, never. I'm building very advanced solution, extremely advanced solution, and I have very, very few calc that I use on some poor things that doesn't involve a relationship or large, let's say, found set or related records, stuff like this. I'm not using calculation for this anymore because you have a lot of problem with this. So I will cover this, during the webinar. I will definitely cover the calcs and how to use calcs in the large file and with a complex, let's say, solution project, right? So you'd never use calc, never. This calc here is something that you have to go away from because it is a problem on relationship, it is a problem on performance. Um, it's hard to maintain. It's very slow. It's not. This was good at the time where we had the FileMaker file local on the hard drive. no network, no server, yeah, you can use calc if you are in that situation. But if you are on the cloud with a server and you use calculations like this, well, you need to face consequences. So that's why, I've never had problem because I use calc as an auto entry calculation, right here, auto enter, and I have calc here. And I'm going to show, with the technique I have, I'm triggering the calc when I want, right? So you have a perfect control on which, on how to trigger the calculation, when to trigger the calculation, right? So if you use the calc fields, well, you have problem because you have no control. The calc is always there. And if you use this, right, like here, let's say you want to store it, right? It is stored, right? Now it's indexed. So now you can use it on the relationship. Well, this calculation is not going to be triggered when you want, and you have no way to control it, right? You have no control on it, or very few control. If you use calc as this, to not store, yes, that's cool. The calc is going to be performed all time, but there's no index. So this cannot be used on the relationship or on one side only, right? So in a relationship, when you have a relationship like this, here you can use the calc, right? But not here. Here you can, not here, because there's no index, so it won't be able to find anything in that
Okay.
side. But in here, in that here you can use unstored, unindexed, global. Yeah, here you can use whatever you want, right? If I do this, for example, if I do this, oops, if I do this, well, it will accept the calc. Okay, for example, let's say I'm going to put this. If I put this in the calculation, it works. So I put this ID in the calc that is unstored. I put that ID, that means the result of the calc is this ID, then this relationship here worked. But on the other side, it won't because there's no index. This is not indexed, but from that way, from this to here, in that direction, yeah, that works. There's no problem with this. It will consider that as a global field, right? And it will work, right? So if you use a calc in a relationship like this, there's no problem, right? But in the target, in the source table, yeah, you can use it. On the target table, you can't, right? But I'm going to come later on this. But the the the, the, the bottom line is never use this, or very very few. For example, what do I do? When do I use this? For example, when do I use a calc? Where, for example, for the sort state, that is an example. I'm using and I get the sort state. Okay, so this, I want this to be always, always, all time calculated. I want to know that all the time. The sort state, right? So the sort state. So if I put here, I put my calc here, my sort state. Oh, sort state. Okay. So if I have my sort state here, it says 0. because it's not sorted. If I sort in one way, well, it said 1. And we'll have say -1 if it's semi-sorted, you know. But I need this to be always, if I unsort, boom, 0, right? So I know now 1, 0, right? I know if it, so I to know that I use unstore calculation because I want this to be always calculated. But now, since we're here, so let's repair this. I don't use this anymore. I don't, for example, for that example, I don't need a field for that, right? For just to know if it's sorted or not,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't need that. What do I use this, you know, and I use this, the layout calculation. I have the same results, right? If I sort, boom, 1. So I don't need the field anymore, right? And if you want to be great, you say choose, right? Okay, choose, right? And you say the sort states, and you say unsort, and sorted. So now this will return it's sorted, and here unsorted. So because the choose, right? The choose, it's oh, something maybe you don't know. You go there, right? You click here, and you have the description of choose. And if you click here, you go straight to FileMaker help to that function, right? So you go there, right? You type choose, you select in the list here the function, right? And you click here. And clicking here goes straight to the function. So for example, if you want this, right? Click here and you go straight, that plugin. Uh, anything, you know, ABS number, you click here, boom, and you go straight to the ABS, right? So that's cool. So choose, right? He said, okay, the test must return 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So when you have when the choose returns 0, well, you said this, for example, or like unsorted. When the test return 1, you say good, 2 fair, 3 poor, right? So this is how it works. This is how choose works. It's very cool. It's very old function, from 6. Actually, yeah, it come from 6. So I'm not using for this type of things now. I'm not using um, a field to get the calc. So then you don't have to pollute your table with stuff like this. No longer needed, right? So you can do this without. I use this because I typically in my production I typically don't show the bar here, and I want to reproduce this, right? Reproduce this, the record you in, how many record you have, and if it's sorted and stored. See, if I sort it now, you see here, it says sorted, and here it says sorted as well. So I reproduce this with the get sort state, but get sort state returns 0 and 1. So it's a good thing also, to know that. Keep in mind this FileMaker most of the time returns 1, 0 or 0, 1, 2, 3, right? So that it returns a number, mostly 1, 0, like here, right? Is it sorted, unsorted, right? Because this is a language that FileMaker is reading easily. And we are going to use that a lot during my demonstrations, right? So did I answer the question?
They're on YouTube, so it might take them a bit to respond, but I
Okay,
think you did.
but yeah, but anyway, I'm going to talk about those things anyway, so don't worry. I'm going to talk about the calculations. I'm going to show you how you replace the calculation from the mist, because it's a product. It's no longer, there's many things in FileMaker we don't use anymore, you know, because there's new ways. FileMaker didn't want to get rid of it, and I understand, because they didn't want to break compatibility, right? So they didn't want to, one day you wake up and you say, oh yeah, you have to rebuild your stuff because we removed this, right? So they don't want to do that, right? They don't want, in in many platform they do that, right? They replace by a new technology or a new way, but they keep the old way on the side. And if you want to use the old way, an example, for example, we don't use bitmap icon anywhere, right? In in a new software, nobody use bitmap icon anymore, well, FileMaker does. This is a bitmap icon, right? This is a bitmap icon. This blue folder, it's a bitmap. It's drawing. It's not a vector, whatever, right? So FileMaker still use this, and well, all system in the world, Windows, Linux, whatever, Mac OS, they still carry this ability to, to show, you know, to use those files, those formats, right? So that's the same thing. So in FileMaker, there's many things we don't use anymore. For example, mostly everything that is here, you don't even try to use it, you know. You don't use that anymore. There's other ways, better ways to repair. We have a webinar about this, March. I don't remember the title of the webinar, but we
Mm-hmm.
did that,
Yes.
following a conversation with the boss. Okay, this validation
It's
tab,
terrible. Yes.
yeah, FileMaker, they should have like an option here in the preference, say, oh, do you want to hide validation? Because I never go there in my entire life. I never go.
Mm-hmm.
I leave it as is. I don't even try to mess up with this and this, and it doesn't matter. There's other ways. Okay, other ways. Here we use this, of course. This I never went there, and I'm not in. I never did anything in Japanese, so I have no use. But this validation here we don't use. Calc fields we use, but very very few. Uh, you know, Repeating fields, I use them in very few cases. They are very useful, but very few cases when in the let's say in 3.0 and 4.0, those repeating fields were used all over the place because we didn't have portals, right? So they were an answer to build portals without building portals, right? So there's many things we don't use anymore, but I still use them, right? But like 3 times, 4 times in a giant 200 table solution, I'm going to use like 3 fields like this and 4 or 5 unstored calculations, because they can be useful. Don't get me wrong, but not for when you need a calc, you don't go there. You know, you go text or number or date, and you say auto entry. And I'm going to cover that as well because it's part of you need to master this in order to master the relationship. I told you that relationship is like it's part of a recipe, you know. You can have the best tomato sauce in the world. Well, if you don't have nice, well cooked, well done spaghettis or whatever, doesn't matter if the sauce is good, right? So a relationship is the same. It's part of the recipe. You need to know how to use that, but in order to use them, you need to learn all the ingredients, right, to get the result. So do we have another question, or can?
Uh, Nothing at the moment. I think you're good.
Okay. So yesterday, we talked about the predicates, right? So predicates, it's the what you have here, right? So you can have multiple predicates, right? And we are going to continue playing with this because predicate can be tricky and they can be like, sometimes hard to understand because at the end you might end up with no results, right? So who didn't have this happening in their life? Like, oh, you play with this and then at the end, boom, there's nothing coming. Who did that? Who did have the problem?
Anyone have
Right?
this issue?
Like building this, adding things here, and then at the end there's nothing, and then you try playing.
Yeah, I have done that several times. I myself have done that several times. Yeah, someone said they've done it a couple times. Yes, you run into
Okay.
that problem.
Yes. So that's why we're going to play with this and understand this because you can go far, right? And but there's some basic principles that you need to know. So first here, I have a list, I have multiple accounts, and I have contacts, right? From this account, and I have another account here. Oops. I have another account, another one, right? I have four accounts here, right? So, and let's unsort this. Okay. So, and I have related records, right? But this is because I just have like this. I have a list of contacts, and I have a contact for each account, right? Each account, I have a contact, right? So I have for each account, I have contact related with an ID, right? So that so far so good. So this is this predicate I have here, right? The account, the ID account with the foreign key ID account. I'm going to come to the foreign key and primary key later, okay? I'm going to go there later. But first, let's focus on this. Now I want to add a predicate based on the country, right? So here I have a global field, right? Where I can enter a country, and then here in this list, I have the country, and I'm adding it, okay? So yesterday I demonstrate that this means I want the all the record that match this ID with this ID, and also the record must match the country here with the country here, right? So I did the demonstration yesterday with the perform find. You remember
Hmm.
that it's not like I want all this ID and also all this country. No, this not. That's why you get confused, and many people get confused. And I understand because FileMaker said and, but this is a programmatic and, is not a logical and. It's programmatical and, not logical. That means the the record the record you can find on the other side, the record itself must have this equal to this and this equal to this in the record, right? It's not like show me all of this and all of this? No. Good. So now I'm here. Of course, my relationship broken because I need to put the country here, right? And I'm going to do this. So now the relationship is broken. So that's why you get sometimes you end up having nothing. Because, as I said yesterday, but it's repeating because it's very important. If you have nothing here in one of it, in one of the two, if it's empty, broken. It returns nothing. It doesn't say, okay, you said you put nothing, that means you want everything. No. You know what I mean? You put nothing, that means nothing. It's like multiplicate a number by zero is always zero. You understand? So keep that in mind. Like in math, when you multiplicate 10 billion by zero, it will be zero at the end. Okay? So it's the same here. If you put nothing here, it's broken. So let's put a country. Where's my countries? Okay, let's put Australia. I have a client in Australia now. So for this account, this is the people I have in Australia. So let's check this, right? So for this account, right? For this account, RC Consulting, who is in Australia? Those people. We're correct, right? Match. So the relationship works. Okay. So now you say yes, but this is where it gets tricky. Okay. Because remember, I said this multi-predicate here, this is how we call that a multi-predicate relationship. That means you have more than one multi-predicate. You have a multi-predicate. And I said, this must match this, but this is not an and. It's not a logical and, it's a programmatic and. So, but this is true, but you also can add another country like this. So this is what we call a multi-value relationship. Okay. So you have a multi-predicate relationship and you have a multi-value relationship. Yes, this means the ID here must match the ID here, and the record must match the country here, the country here. Both must match this and this. But adding another country like this, what you mean now is, okay, this field and this field must match the records, the two fields in that table, but all the content of that relationship, all the content of that field must match all the contents. So all the content of this field must match this. So if whatever the content here, both of those fields must match. But if here I have multiple values and here I have multiple values, well, it will work. It will say, okay, I have multiple values. So what does it mean now? So did you get it? So first, did you get this principle? Yes and no. And if you didn't get it, I'm going to explain more.
We following along? Someone said yes. Anyone else like saying no?
Okay.
They've got it. Okay, yeah.
So who said no? And so what did you do? What
Oh,
you
no, no
didn't
one
get?
said no. No one said no, so you're
Oh,
good.
no one said. Okay, okay, okay. We good. So now, so now you're ready for the phase two. Okay. Phase two is what? Let's say here I have another global and I call that account IDs. It's a global. And instead of using this, I'm using my account IDs here. Okay. So let's put this here now. Let's arrange this and G account IDs. Let's put this here, but I need more space because the account ID is large. What happens if I have Australian friends here and I put these accounts, right? And these accounts. So this is where you can now smell the good smell of a nice juicy burger. Okay. Well, now I want between a bucket of two accounts. I want within those two accounts, I want to find Australia and France. And he did it. Proof of it? Oh, sorry, I
You good?
messed up this. Yeah, yeah. So if I put this, do you see my screen?
Yes, I see the,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, okay,
Specify field. Yep.
okay. Why said or RC consulting? It should say, what about here? Well, they say or they should say Acme, because this is Acme. Well, that weird. Why said I, or maybe because the account name is not updated. Hold on, because I create the oh, they're all in the RC consulting. Hold on. See here, the account name is not updated. So okay, it's a lookup. So let's do this and let's do a relookup here to update. What? Mhm. Okay, let's me hold on a second. I have a problem here. So I want the account name to show up here, right? And maybe this is broken. Oh, okay. I need to be in contacts, account name. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to relook up this. It doesn't work. Why? So I was here. Oh, okay, I understand. So hold on. I'm going to do something. Don't worry. Um, it, I wasn't there yet, but no. Account name, account update. Oh, okay, we're good to go. Yes, still doesn't work. Okay, IDF account. Yeah, welcome to the, I'm in contact. I want the account, IDF account, ID account. Well, why doesn't it work? Uh, I'm in, why I'm in contact? Yeah, I'm in contact. I don't understand. Okay, never mind. Oh yeah, it's coming. Okay, it comes. So here, I have two IDs, right? The first ID, if I get rid of it, it was RC Consulting, right? And the second ID here, well, is Acme, right? And I ask for two countries, right? Australia and France, right? Right? But I can add another one if I want, right? Let's add, I don't know, okay, United Kingdom. Boom. See, I add. I can even add another, a third uh, account. See, but still, it's only, so you see what I mean? Between three different accounts, I said I want only the countries, three countries. If I remove France, go away. If I put back, back, right? So here where you can see the power of the relationship, because if you want to do that with a perform find, good luck. Okay. Don't try. It's not possible. It's easy to answer the question. With perform find, you want to do something like this, it's impossible. So because it's not meant for that. Okay. The relationship, it's super powerful for this. So if we don't have any other question, I can follow. Otherwise, I can answer the question.
I think we're good. So I think
Okay.
everyone's following along. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I covered this a lot,
I mean, it's
many
always
times.
good to recover it, frankly,
Yeah,
because this subject is always really complicated. So the more you
yeah,
have it beat into your skull, the more you'll actually use it.
yes. But now I want to add a third uh, predicate, you know, and the third predicate will be the status. So it's a global, I put it global, right? I want the status, I have a status, active, inactive, right? So I'm going to add this here, uh, status, okay? I want the status here, and of course, so let me put this here. Sorry, I don't like 13. So I'm going to add a third predicate here. Now I'm going to add it here. I want the status with the status. Okay. Well, so boom, it breaks. Why? Because this is now part of the multi-predicate relationship and it's empty. So I'm going to put active, right? So now the relationship is doing that for me between those three accounts. I want those three countries only active. What happens if I want inactive as well? Well, this. Or you want only inactive, this, right? So you can go on and on and on and on, right? This works fabulously, and you can do that with a lot of records, right? There's ways to increase the speed, but this for later, right? But I want to continue now. I want to show you. So we don't have any other questions. So I'm going to continue. Now I want to do something. I say, yes, I want to, um, uh, what's the name? I want those three things, but now I want to omit things, right? I want to omit some cities. Okay, so let's duplicate this. Okay, so I'm adding this field, global, and I say, okay, so city with city, but I don't want the city I'm going to put there. I don't want them. Don't add them, remove them. This is what that means, right? This means everything that is there, right? I don't want it. So show me, so how you read this, show me the record that are different than the city I'm putting there. This is what it means, right? I only want the one that are different from this city, right? So it's broken again because it's empty. This is empty, right? So let's put one city. Where my city? Okay. So I don't want Olympia in the cities, right? So if you look here, so I can, let's sort this by cities, then we can see. Uh, why? Why is there, oh, that's funny. I can click here. I can, that's funny. Okay, so let's close this. And let's reopen it. Um, okay. Okay. So let's sort this by city. Then you can see that the city is missing. So the city is here, right? So if I if I put Olympia here, okay? So is gone. But if I put this, Olympia is here. If I put there, it's not. I can also let's say I remove Virginia Beach. Boom, gone. Olympia and Virginia Beach gone. If I remove Olympia here, it's there. Olympia's back. Okay? But Virginia Beach not. If I put, so now, so you see, you can mix the predicates. You can have a lot of predicates here, and you can say, I want this, match all the countries here, all the IDs here, all the statuses, and ignore all the city I put here in the same predicate, right? So that makes relationship powerful. Now, something you need to know. When here, if I put blank, if I blank it, it doesn't work, right? So if I blank this, it doesn't work. Like now, this is blank, it doesn't work. Doesn't. But when you have a predicate involving a different sign, not an equal, a different, well, you come here and put whatever you want. Something that doesn't exist. You put whatever you want. It will work. Why? Is because it will say, okay, you know, if you don't want to ignore anything, put something that doesn't exist, right? And it will say, okay, I ignore nothing because this doesn't exist. So when you have a predicate involving a different sign, you can do that. Here, you can't. blank or this, it won't work because it needs to match because it's equal. This is different. So, well, he said, I cannot ignore anything because on the other side is anything with this character. So I show you everything. Correct? You got it?
Yes. Wait, we've got a question. Should the field name reflect the intended function? Example, use global emit city.
Yeah, but whatever, if in another relationship you use that global field for showing the city,
Hmm.
right? I tend not to be that, I tend not to have this level of accuracy if it's not needed. If if you sure that the field, if you sure that the field you use is for omitting, this is how you do. City, well, you can say cities, but you know, city, right? And then you say omitting. This is how you name it. You say global city pipe omitting. Okay. Sometimes I'm using this because sometimes I need two fields, one to omit, one to add, right? So I use that level of uh, labeling if it's needed. Here, for example, I'm using for omitting, right? But I could use that field, that global field, for other purposes that is not necessarily omitting. So if you have the labeling say omitting and then later on you use that field for something else, it could lead you to a you know a misunderstanding, right? So, but here the omitting, right? So when you use this, so now you understand the how powerful that could be, right? To omit and show. So since we don't have question, so let's how I can, for example, let's say I want to show all the countries here, right? I want to show all countries, correct? So that means I mean I don't want this field to intervene, right? So there's many ways to do that. So the first way, you have a show all button here, right? So the first way you have a show all, and this is what you do. I have here, let's say, I have a value list with all my countries. They're all here. Okay. I have a value list. And the name of the value list is countries. So this button here, you say set field, this one, and the calc is value list, oops, value list item. File name is it's asking you the file name you want to target. Is when you have multiple files and stuff like that. We don't care. You can put double quote here. And the name of the value list is countries. Oops. Right? So what will this do? Oh, why I it's not city, it's country. sorry, set field, country. Okay. This will put all the countries in this field. So that means you said, show me all the countries because they're all there, right? If you remove this, well, show only this. But if you click show all, right, it will put all the countries that this value list is telling you, right? Correct? So if I put all the country available in my contact table, if I put all the country here, but this relationship will show all the countries, right? Correct? Same for the cities, you know, but it's more, so this is the first way to show all countries when you have a relationship like this. So do we have any question for that?
Questions, comments, concerns, everybody?
This,
Uh,
yeah, go ahead.
oh no. Okay, there's a question, but you technically answered, but I'll ask it again, just in case someone else is wondering. If G city is empty, what happens?
If the city, oh, see, if the city is empty, broken.
Yes.
You need to put something valid or whatever, something that doesn't exist. Something you sure you'd never have, like, you know, pretty much. I'm using this all the time because I know there's no city name dash hash, right? I never saw a city name like this. So I know this never come. So this doesn't exist here. It will never ignore that. So this value list item function, right? I'm using that a lot because this is cool because the value list engine, right? It goes to a table, grab a field, right? And it's flattening the list. That means it will show in the list only one time Australia, you know, Austria, it show one. Even if I have 100 record with Australia, it will say only one. If you find one record with Australia, boom, it put in the list, right? So this work is done very well by the value list engine. So that's why I like to use that function, value list item. You put double quote here, and here you said countries. Boom. You have your list of countries. You know, if you put cities, you have your cities. If you put status, you have your status. So this value list engine is doing that job for you. Advantage of the value list engine, it doesn't care if you are in a context with a relationship. It doesn't care about this. You know, I mean, if you don't use this is another story. But like this, you can go anywhere in your solution. It doesn't care. It will get the list for you without any relationship. Just go there and pick a field, and it will scan all the record and say, boom. It is very fast because it is not scanning the records, it's scanning the index. So of course, if you want that to work, you need an index field, right? So now I want to reverse that um, functionality, say, okay, if it's empty, right, I want to show everything, right? I mean, I want this predicate to be pretty much ignored. I want that to be ignored. And I don't want this because this is great. But if you have a lot of records, this will be slow. If you have a lot of records, this will be extremely slow. If over there in this here, you have a lot of records, this will be very, very, very slow. So how you do that? Okay. So I demonstrate that a lot, but I'm going to repeat myself here. In the table where you have the contact and where you have the CD, right? You duplicate that field. Okay. And you call that underscore link CT pipe GTRR. Okay. So what that means when you say GTRR, I use that terminology to tell me that this field now will be used. I already have it here. This field will be used in the go to related record, right? Or to related record, right? It's used for related records. This link, this field will be a link for a relationship exclusively that the only use for that field. And that field is for related record, go to related record, whatever. I call that GTR to show that to me. And what this field is, okay, it's an auto entry calculation. And I say, I'm doing a list of city and one, right? I put one here. So what this calc do, okay? So I'm going to my contact list. This, do this. Oh, right? Take the city and add one. Okay, city one. And that's for all the record. See here? All the record in that field, I will have the city name and one in two values. I cannot put the one next to it with space, whatever. It needs to be a char return here. The list function is perfect for that, right? You could do this if you want, right? It's the same, but it's not as clean, right? The list function is easier to read, okay? List, boom. Now that I have that field, right? Or I can do that for country because I need to do that on country, by the way. So let's do that for country. Country, right? And I do the same for country, right? By the way, I need to do that here as well, because otherwise. Okay, so let me explain something here. I uncheck this, right? Why? It's because this is an auto entry calculation that will be triggered if the country field is changed. So let me show you. I'm here, right? And I have my link country GTRR. Right? for now it's empty, right? But if I put a country here, boom, right? But if I change the country to Scotland, this need to change automatically because I changed this. So an auto entry calculation works like this. Here in that calc, I'm involving another field. That means if this field changed, involved here, well, this field here will get recalculated. If I click here, if I change here, I could put back Ireland, doesn't change. Because I check that box, which that box means do not replace existing value if field or field if any. That means if I have already something here and this change, well, the whole thing here won't be recalculated. Pretty much, it would have been calculated only at creation. For example, here I put USA. Oh, it's not because I have one. See, it doesn't because it's not empty. If I empty this and I put USA here, it comes. But if I say France, it doesn't change because I have something. I need to blank it and then put France. That works. If I put USA, boom, no, because it's not blank. There's something here. So to prevent that, uncheck this, and then you say, if you say USA again, change. If you say Italy, change, correct? Okay. So now all my fields are not are empty. I want them to be filled. Okay, I want all of them to be filled with something. I want the country and one. I want the auto entry calculation to work. Well, you go there and you say replace. So you go there, you say record replace, and you replace with itself. I replace country with itself, right? Doing this, that will trigger that calculation because I'm modifying that field. Boom. Now for all record is filled. And now I'm okay because what if I change this, if I change this, it changed, right? So it works. If I create a new one, right? And I put like a country, USA, boom, it works, right? So I have no worry anymore on this, okay? So because the field is created. So now that I have that field, so first, do we have any question on this?
Uh, how can I manage? Okay, I don't know if this is necessarily on topic, but I'll ask it and then we can. How can I manage and create a license for every device? Are you talking about like FileMaker licenses? If you are that shiny and new to FileMaker, I have got some links for you. But I don't really think there's any license to be had uh, with relationships. So, yeah, I think that's the only question we've got, Nick.
Okay. Okay.
So,
So now that I have that field with the country and one on all of them, okay, I can use this field in the relationship. Instead of using the country field, I'm going to use the country, this one, for country. And this is what happened. So let's say I'm blanking it, but instead of blanking it, I'm putting 1. Well, it showed me all the country. Otherwise, well, I say I put a country. Put 1 or the country. So, and I can put other country if I want. I put this and Peru. New Zealand, Peru. Or I can say I want 1. Since all the record here, all the record has 1 in these fields, they have a country, but they also have 1. Since I'm using that field in the relationship, if I put 1 here, it will say, well, everybody has 1, so I'm showing you everybody because I found it. I use 1, but you could use whatever you want, right? 1 is good practice because you can use that for all the things that I'm going to use to show you. But you understand? So now, how can I get that field to get 1 if I blank it? Right? If I blank it, I want 1 automatically. Well, this is how you do. This here, right? You say is empty self. And you return 1. Right? So for example, I'm putting New Zealand. Oh, yeah, no. I need to be more. um, if is empty self 1, otherwise self. I'm going to explain that. So I'm putting New Zealand, right? And now I'm blanking this, right? New Zealand or blank, correct? So what happened here? So you understand that I'm not using any triggers, any script, any set fields, right? To do this, I'm using the calculation in the field itself. So here I say if is empty self. What self mean? So let's go. Self. I click this and I go to the help for self. Right? Returns the content of the object in which the calculation defined. Okay, well, good. So pretty much, that's why that's why you come here, because you see, do you understand what that means? No, right? Provide a way to calculation reference to content object in which it's associated with. Okay, yeah. Okay, close this. What self means? Self is you refer to the object itself, like where you're in. That means, for example, here I am in the definition of the field name J country. So I could have done this. It's the same, right? It's the same. If I do this, it's the same. But well, self is good because you don't need to remember which field you're in and type the field, type self. So if is empty, the field itself, if J country is empty, then put 1. If it's not empty, put whatever in the field. So here, if I put France, is the field empty? No, it's not. Correct? It's not empty. So, well, put whatever I just put there now. Bam. But if I do this, is the field empty? Now, is the field is empty? Yes, it is empty. So the auto entry calculation will say, okay, the field is empty, ergo, the auto entry calculation said, okay, if myself, I am empty, I need to put 1. This is what the calculation says. Okay. If myself empty, then put 1. Otherwise, put whatever is inside myself. Right? So that prevents whatever triggers, on objects valid save, or on object whatever exits, right? So you do that inside the calculation. So that's great. So now I'm showing all the field. That means this predicates in the relationship. Now I have full control. I can say whatever country I put, or all the countries, right? Just by putting 1, because here I have 1 on every single record. I have the country. So if I put Poland here, right? Well, it works because I have Poland in that field, but I also have 1 in that field. So that means if I put 1, that record will be found because I have 2 values in 1 field. The relationship will scan how many values I have. It will try to say, okay, do I have Poland? No. Do I have 1? Yeah, okay, I show it. Right? So you can have multiple predicate here. You can multiple values if you want, right? You can, but here in that case, I only want to know if there's Poland or if there's 1, right? And now this will pick the record. If I put Poland, it will come. Of course, I can put multiple countries, right? Or 1, correct? So there's 2 different ways to deal with this emptiness status, okay? The first, when you have a different, ignore, let's say, operator here, right? Let's say, show me everything that is not this. When you have this, you can use whatever, something that doesn't exist, okay? I use this. This is when you have this different sign. But when you have an equal sign, you cannot use that. With the emptiness, you need to use that technique here. I show you. So that prevents many problems, right? Many problems. Because, for example, yeah, but it's 15, so tomorrow. Tomorrow we continue on this one. Okay?
There we go. Works for me. Thank you very
Okay.
much, Nick, as always.
Okay, thank you. And
We do have a question, but
oh,
I will save that for tomorrow. So,
okay, yeah. Okay.
all right. Thank you, everyone. You have a lovely day, and I will catch y'all later.
Thank you.
Bye bye.